Customer service. We all know that customer service is important, but the question is, how do you deliver excellent customer service? And especially, it is quite tough to find a real expert on customer service. So when I tell you we have someone here who's known from USA Today, Fox Business, Forbes, The Huffington Post, The Today Show, CBS, Fox News, and NBC, also a best-selling author known from USA Today, New York Times, Amazon.com best-selling author, and The Wall Street Journal. Hello and welcome, customer service expert Shep Hyken.
Hey, it is great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for taking the time. And we're getting straight into the topic. You just wrote your book, I'll Be Back. You wrote 8 books on customer service. Of course, my first question now has to be, it's your 8th book. What's new in this one?
About 80% of the content is new. So I always have in every book, and by the way, every speech that I do, I always include this little foundational piece I talk about, which is managing the interaction. And it can go 3 ways. It could be a moment of misery, a moment of magic, so bad or good, or it could be average, which I call a moment of mediocrity. We manage it in a consistent and predictable, above average experience. In other words, consistent and predictable moments of magic puts you in that zone of amazement where people say, I love doing business with them. They're amazing. They always get back to me. They always are so knowledgeable. They're always so helpful. The word always followed by something positive. That's what we're striving for. But once we get past that content, which is only about, like I said, about less than probably about 15% of the book or so, everything else is brand new. And we talk about loyal customers versus repeat customers, and there's a big difference. I have this, and hopefully we'll have time to do this. I'd love to share the 6-step process to creating the I'll Be Back experience for customers.
Of course, please do so. Here we go.
Well, I'll do it right now. So
yes,
to me, this
absolutely.
Yeah, why not? This is the meat of the book. Okay, so the idea, first of all, I'll be back. And by the way, you're from Germany. The guy that made the words "I'll be back" famous, very close to where you live in Austria.
I know.
I just want to hear in your German accent. Go ahead and say it.
Is there any tie-in with Arnold Schwarzenegger in the book?
It started out no, and about 3 paragraphs into my outline, I thought, who's the person that made this line famous? And I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking all about getting customers to come back. And it's Arnold. So I do make reference to him, and I have fun with some of the ideas. I talk about, why would a customer terminate their relationship with you? Why would you want to terminate a relationship with a customer? How do you win an Arnie? You get the Arnie, kind of like the Oscar, the Grammy, the big award when the customer says, I'll be back. And then they actually do come back. All right, let me give you this 5-step process, though. I'm sorry, 6 steps.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go through them really quick. So you do this with a team. It's not good to do it by yourself. There's a lot of synergy with other people. Number 1, ask the question, why do customers do business with us? And make sure your answers are different than what the competition would say. You can't say, oh, we have great service, because they do too. Number 2, why would customers do business with them, the competition? And when you realize and by the way, you need to have this information, why customers don't come to you and go to somewhere else, why another company has your market share. So number 3 is realizing why your customers might go to them, the competition. I have something I call keeping pace. So take what they're doing that you're not doing, give it a little twist so you make it your own. Otherwise, you're just a commodity, and keep pace. And now you're at least trying to equalize the reasons customers might leave you to go to the competition. Number 4, look outside your industry and ask, what companies do I love doing business with, and why? And that why is really important. You list all the reasons why, and it doesn't matter what kind of business you're in and what kind of business you love. It can be, if you're a manufacturer and you love the inside sales rep at one of your vendors, why do you love them so much? What are they doing that you love? Do you love Amazon? Do you love a restaurant down the street? And why? You need to be very specific. Number 5 is to take those whys that you have from businesses that are outside of your industry and look at these. Why do I love them? And is there any of that I love that we can be doing for our customers? What I love about this particular step is you are starting to move from best in industry to best in class, world class. And then finally, number 6, if you've implemented the ideas from what you've learned related to your competition that you're not doing and what you've learned from companies outside of your industry that you could be doing, you start to implement these, you go back and ask the same question. Minor difference. You say, now that we've done this, Why would a customer do business with us? That's it. 6 steps. And by the way, simple ideas, right? This could take you 3 days of brainstorming with the best people in your company. And by the way, people from all areas of the company, the front line, behind the scenes, in the finance department, the salespeople, your leadership people. Get groups from different areas of the company and figure out what it is you can do to create that I'll be back experience.
That is excellent advice already. And of course, now I have to ask one question. Let's say I do these 3-day brainstorming, and then there will be a very smart guy in the room who says, oh, look, Niels, we now are all digital. We go through digitization. So I think we should automate all customer experiences because that actually is the future. And I know when I read your book, in one of the back chapters, I think it was chapter 12 or 13, somewhere there.
You can't automate the relationship.
Exactly. Why not? Because many people today, and even in our industry, many people claim that they say you just need a sales funnel, pull them through, and money will come out at the end. And as you know, I have a very different point of view. I fully agree with you. But could you please elaborate on why can't you automate the relationship?
Sure. Well, first of all, you should know that the digital experience is becoming more and more popular. In our research that we did, 41% of customers will go digital first to try to come up with answers to their own questions and resolve their own issues. But that leaves 59% of people who are going to the telephone first. That said, we can create all kinds of digital experiences, frequently asked questions, video tutorials, interactive chatbots, artificial intelligence. But when the customer is not getting what they want, there needs to be an easy, seamless, and quick way to get to a human. It was Jeff Bezos at Amazon that said years ago, we need to be so good that we don't need a customer service department. And that's great until the customer needs to talk to somebody in customer service. And oftentimes the reason had nothing to do with Amazon. Amazon shipped, and it was FedEx, UPS, the post office, whomever, that somehow lost the shipment or delayed the shipment. But who does a customer call? They call
Amazon, of course.
Amazon. Right. And even though it wasn't Amazon's fault, they took total responsibility. And Bezos realized what he was saying was like utopian and not realistic, but it was a goal and something to think about throughout the entire time. Anyway, I digress. The idea behind this technology is that people, or I should say companies, and the people who are making the decisions in the companies are enamored by this technology. Yes, some of it works really, really well. But don't become so enamored that you go out of balance and all of a sudden there's no way to get to a person when you need to talk to them. I mean, I remember how difficult it was. We were doing some online advertising through Google, and trying to get somebody to talk to you when there was a problem was really difficult. We were spending quite a bit of money. And finally did talk to somebody. We got it all worked out, but it shouldn't be that difficult. I think they've made it better now. And most companies are figuring out you can't be 100% digital.
Excellent. So when we talk about dealing with customers, you in one chapter talk about the shortest customer service speech, customer speech you ever gave. It's only 2 words long. Could you please give that to us here?
Sure. And it started out to be a 40-minute speech, but because everybody in front of me speaking went over their time by so much, and we had to end on time, I had less than 2 minutes to go. And I walked out and I said, I know you're wondering, what am I going to do to get us out of here on time? Here it is. Shortest speech you're ever going to get on customer service. Be nice. 2 words. And I walked off stage. And actually, I stopped before I walked off, and then I turned back to the audience and into the microphone. I said, I know I still have about a minute left. So let me just say that this be nice idea is such common sense that unfortunately is not so common. If you go into a restaurant and the food is absolutely delicious, but the server was rude, the manager was nasty, the owner gave you dirty looks when you left, would you ever go back? No.
Maybe you saw on the internet, Alan Stevens, Alan Stevens as well.
I know Alan, yes.
And we went to a restaurant for years and years when we had our monthly dinner in London. And due to the behavior of one staff and one manager was incredibly arrogant, we left that restaurant after 10 years of loyalty.
And never came back. The food could be great.
And believe me, we won't. We won't.
Yep. So, and that's the point. And you can use the food can be great as a metaphor for anything you do that's great. If you are not treating the customer with respect and dignity and a show of concern and interest. And by the way, the number one reason customers choose not to do business with you is they consider apathy a bad customer service experience. So you can't even be neutral. You've got to be just a little bit better than that.
When we now talk about how to create loyal customers, the absolute standard is, no matter if it's the airline industry, the food industry, the hospitality, hotels, whatever it is, I have 1 billion loyalty cards. Do you think that loyalty programs necessarily, because I know that my behavior changed, and in my opinion, some of these loyalty programs did not necessarily create me to convert as a loyal customer. So what is your take on loyalty programs?
Sure. So there's a difference between customer loyalty and repeat business. We talk about this in the book, and I also talk specifically to the idea that loyalty programs are often named loyalty programs for the wrong reasons. They're not loyalty programs. They're marketing programs. They drive repeat business because of the perks and incentives that are given to the customer that comes back. Hence all those loyalty cards you're carrying around. I go to a restaurant. And on the 5th time, they punch my card every time I get there. And on the 5th time, they give me a free sandwich, which, wow, I like that. Basically, they're giving me a 20% discount across the 5 times I've been there. But that's a marketing program. That's a discount program. It's not a true loyalty program. You fly on the airlines because they have airline miles. And many people fly on one airline to accumulate as many miles as they can on that airline because they get their free trips that much quicker. But if you took away the miles and the free upgrades, and it was just, hey, choose us because we're the right airline. If every airline had to do that, and I ask all the time, would you still fly on that airline? And
absolutely not.
Yeah, most people say no. They so we can't confuse repeat business with loyal business. And by the way, we love repeat business. We want repeat business. It's important, but you need to understand the why the customer is coming back. Why? Maybe it's because you're closer than the competition. As soon as the competition moves in, you've been coming here for 5 years, but you're going to start going to someplace that's closer. Maybe it's that free sandwich. Maybe it's the miles. There's many different reasons why customers keep coming back. You need to understand. And if you can make it a loyal relationship, oftentimes it's because there's some emotional component involved. People use that word love. I love doing business with them. They're amazing. Amazing is kind of an emotional word. It's not like, they're okay. They're fine. What is fine? I mentioned this in the book. Fine is not fine. Fine is the F-bomb of customer experience. 4-letter word that starts with F. And it's not good when you hear it related to customer service.
That's true.
Fine.
Fine. I mean, even as a German, when I say it's fine, it means, it's fine for now, but I go somewhere else next time if I see something which is just a bit cheaper or a different offer. So fine doesn't mean anything. Yeah. So it is now very important that to round this interview up, there was one thing that really was very interesting and very, very fascinating for me when I read your book at the beginning. I think it was like chapter 2, 3, 4. You said that amazing customer service is within the reach of every company. And I immediately thought some companies will now tell you, hey, Shep, we're a budget airline, we're a budget restaurant, we're a fast food place. We don't have the budget. We don't have the resources. Our customer service is average because we serve a cheap audience. How can you claim that, just to round this interview up, that every company can reach the level of amazing customer experience?
Yeah, well, let's go back to the first comments I made at the very beginning of the interview. We talked about the foundational concepts in the book, managing those moments of truth. And I mentioned that moment of magic is just anything that's better than average. Sometimes it's really high above average. Maybe there's a problem that falls in our lap and we handle it so well, the customer says, we love you. But day in and day out, if you manage the experience to be just a tiny bit better than average all of the time, and the key is consistency, that's when your customers say you're amazing. Now, one of the most iconic brands in the world is the Ritz-Carlton. And Horst Schulze said that the way you become an iconic brand is not being over the top. You just simply be a little bit better than average. And I actually said, how much better than average do you have to be? He said, be 10% better than average. Now, on a scale of 1 to 5, 3 is average. That means 10% more is 3.3. If you are consistently a 3.3 performer, meaning you are always friendly, you're always, considerate, you always call people back when, they call you or respond to their emails. When that happens, by the way, that's expectations. That's not over the top.
Absolutely.
Customers will rate you a 5 on a scale of 1 to 5.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. Better than average all of the time.
And I think these are the perfect final words for this podcast. We see that customer service, customer experience is more important than ever. That because no matter what product you have, there will be a competitor out there. And no matter how great your product is, when the customer service and the customer experience is not great, they will ditch you and go somewhere else. So at the end of this podcast, there's only one thing for me left to say. Shep, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.